Welcome everyone to Hi Fam. Welcome back to the second day of the Scroll Proof Your Marriage Challenge. I am so thrilled to be here with you live. And yesterday we spoke all about the fantasy of marriages on Instagram. We spoke about what they look like when there's an idealized couple with matching pajamas and the happy Christmas card couple and how romantic and how incredible and the Hollywood fantasy, right, that we are hit with every single time we scroll, and how our marriages seem to pale by comparison. And you guys were here for it. Okay. Andrea said, yes, absolutely. I'm so on board with this challenge. Tila said this 100%. Core said, there's a 19-year-old guy out there right now who is refusing to date because this crap has convinced him that all women have incredibly high standards. That breaks my heart. The only thing I can do about it is assure my son that most of what he sees online is a product to be purchased, right? And not real relationships and real grounded common sense advice, right? Courtney said, wow, the lady and the man sitting in the car, that was outrageous. I highly doubt that will last long. She wrote a few more things, but also said he's probably honestly cheating on her. Now, I really hope he isn't. And maybe he isn't. But what I do know is that often the idealized couples that we see online do end up having much messier, much less idealized lives and marriages. And often they do end up divorced. And then they often glamorize the divorce and glamorize that process. And I do want us to be aware that that is what we're being fed with these stories online. Okay. So, welcome back. I wanted to say, because I forgot to say this yesterday, that I created an amazing PDF to go with this challenge. It's beautiful and it has mini articles and reflection points and journal points and prompts and ideas and mindset shifts. And you got to get your hands on it. And you can get that over at highfam.com/love. Okay, here I'm putting it up on the screen so you can see it. highfam.com/love, or just comment love below in the comments and we'll make sure to give you the link so that you can sign up and get the PDF so that you get all the goodies that go along with this challenge. It is brought to you free by my Married You course. All right, let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. And today I do have some very juicy examples again to show you all about what happens when Instagram ruins my marriage and maybe yours as well. Okay. And what we're going to be talking about is the fact not of the fantasy that the scroll often offers us. Okay. We're not going to be showing that specific bit yet. What we're going to be talking about is, sorry, not this yet. We'll look at that in a moment. We're going to be talking about the diagnosis, the pathology, the comment section therapy that we get when we go online and when we talk about our husbands in particular. That's what happens in particular. Okay. So, what happens is that women tend to follow this idea that something is off in my marriage. I'm having a little bit of an argument with my husband. I'm annoyed about a specific behavior. I don't like the way he's parenting or the way he's dealt with my birthday or the way he walks in the street. And I should go online. I should make a video, sharing, venting, maybe even ranting about this and get camaraderie, validation, help, maybe even like therapy from the comment section. And they do, right? They show up in their droves to share with you what's wrong with your husband, what's wrong with your marriage, why you should actually leave him. Right. That's often the responses that you get at the end of the day from these comment sections is that, you know what? He is not a good guy. You should just leave. And they are very, very quick to diagnose him. Now, if you go to actual therapy, to a psychiatrist or to a therapist who's worth anything, who's worth their salt, they take time before they can reach a diagnosis. And sometimes they can't. Okay. Actual personality disorders or psychiatric conditions are really not simple or easy or straightforward to diagnose, even when you're a professional and even when the person is sitting right in front of you. And yet, from a snippet of a snippet, right, from just an anecdotal, in the heat of the moment annoyance, the world at large, women all over the world unite in the comment section to share why this is a bad guy, why this marriage should be over, why he's weaponized his incompetence, or he's stonewalling, or he's gaslighting, or he's a narcissist, or he's abusive, or he's emotionally abusive, or it's micro abuse, right? And they are so quick to label his actions. And note this, okay? This is where I start to train your eyes to see these cultural phenomena, okay? Note this. They have not met the guy in real life. They have not heard both sides of the story. They have listened to a woman in the heat of the moment who is highly emotional, who feels the drama, right? And we all feel things very strongly, very powerfully when we are triggered, right? She's in survival mode, she's reactive, she's in flight mode or fight mode, and she's sharing her side and her interpretations, which might be wrong. They might be right, but they might be wrong. And even if she's right, it's only going to be one side of the story, right? We're not seeing both sides of the story. And even if we see both sides of the story, we don't see the context in which that developed. We don't see how she contributed to it, what led up to it, how she misinterpreted it, what her biases were or her cognitive fallacies were about it. We don't see any of that. We just see a moment of rage, of interpreting things in the worst possible way. And immediately the internet does what the internet does and will rush to diagnose him and to diagnose them and to prescribe, in general, a divorce. Let's load up some of these videos and take a look at them together so you can see exactly what I mean. Just let me know in the comments if you can hear when I put this on the screen. Let's get that volume on. Here it comes. It says, my narcissistic husband always walks ahead of me, even on vacation. Okay, I came on holiday with my husband thinking it would be good for us.
And I just realized he is never with me. He's always 10 steps ahead. Like I'm a burden he has to drag around. We were supposed to share this. I came on holiday.
Okay, so that's the whole story. Okay, she's in the airport, and instead of solving the problem with her husband, she's on Instagram sharing and diagnosing and pathologizing him that in fact he's a narcissist, and that the fact that he's walking ahead of her is some kind of pathology, is some kind of evidence to this diagnosis that she has of him, right? And note what happens in the comment section. Okay. My ex-husband was like this. Divorce is the only solution. He literally hates you. Okay, guys, I didn't even read this comment section before I opened up this video as an example, but that is the first comment up there. It has 10,341 likes. Okay. It's unbelievable that someone from a snippet, like, were they in the middle of a fight? Were they late to the plane and he's rushing ahead because he wants to make sure that the vacation actually happens? Was he thinking she's right by my side and he was just distracted looking at the signage while she decided to whip out her phone and make it into this thing that he was ignoring her? Maybe he is used to walking ahead of her and that's how things were done in his culture of origin or how his dad used to do things. Maybe he walks ahead of her because he's very safety conscientious and he's trying to scan for security threats before she comes. I don't know. But look, without even spending any time, my brain could come up with 5 alternative interpretations of this behavior that didn't necessarily spell narcissism, right? But she has immediately jumped there. Okay. She's immediately jumped there. And that is so clear to her that he's a narcissist, and so clear. I'm not even talking about the wife. I'm talking about the people in the comments. Okay. Ladies who have ex-husbands, please come and tell this lady that she can make it in life without him. Turn around and walk the opposite way. This is depressing, but honestly, a conversation you should have had first with your husband. Exactly. Yeah. When someone does this to me, I intentionally lose them to teach them a lesson. Yep. Classic sign of narcissism. My ex always walked ahead of me. Listen, could it be a sign of narcissism? I mean, it could. It might be. Maybe he's a narcissist, but we can't diagnose that kind of thing and certainly not break up a couple and a family over a clip, over a snippet, over 20 seconds of their life and an emotive interpretation of that scenario. We don't know. But when I scrolled on Instagram, these are the types of things I saw. And that made me think, oh my God, we're walking to the park. My husband's ahead of me. That means he's a narcissist. I saw it on Instagram. That means we have to get divorced. All the ladies in the comments said so. And all the ladies in the comments encouraged me and told me that life out after my marriage will be great. And it's a good idea. This is a classic sign of narcissism. That's when you turn around, turn the other way and go on vacation without him. Okay. it's and then this one says 53 says, wait, this was real? This woman filmed and posted this? Jesus, I can spot the narcissist. Spoiler, it's not him. So we do have some people presenting an alternative perspective in the comments, but the very next comment is, honey, you chose the wrong one. I'm so sorry. I understand the pain. Right? You chose the wrong one because for a few seconds in the airport, he walked ahead of you. Okay. And your response to that was to cry and to take to the public internet, to film him, to shame him, to diagnose him, and to tell everybody else that he is the worst ever, and to get the validation and the connection and the camaraderie and the sisterhood of all of the therapists in the comment section who are saying, yeah, he sucks. He's the worst one. You chose the wrong one. Walk away. Now, instead, find that camaraderie and relief and connection and feeling seen and feeling heard in the marriage. Turn to him. That was something that I had to learn the hard way. Let's look at another one. Hold up. It says, Dad, let's take all the kids out for ice cream. And all the dads are sitting and chatting, but the moms are doting.
3 words come to mind: married, single, mothers.
Okay, wow. Right. So he's diagnosed that because the women are the one caring for the children around the ice cream table and the dads are laying back and chatting, then they are married single mothers. And I see this quite a lot as well. This idea that we can take a snapshot of a social setting, and because the dads aren't on it, because the moms are, that means something terrible about the marriage, right? That means that they are alone. Now, I have a question. Do we know if these dads spent all week working their behind off to pay for the ice cream? Just for example, could that be the case? Do we know if these moms are super controlling and are like, no, it has to be done a certain way. He has to be clean and not sticky. He has to eat this flavor, not that flavor. I need to be all over him. And they could be sitting down on the deck chairs and relaxing, but they're choosing to be hyperactive and all over the children. Could it be that some men and some women biologically have a different level of sensitivity to nurture, to caring for children, and women want to be the primary parent and want to be there and want it done in a certain way and can't just sit back and relax because she wants it done her way, or because that gives her fulfillment, or because that's just in her nature? Could it be that the dads were the ones who went and got the ice cream and the moms are the ones who are overseeing giving of the ice cream? Could it be that some guy on the internet saying you're a married single mom, giving you that label and giving you that diagnosis, gets in my head and makes me think every time I'm on my feet and my husband's sitting down that I'm a married single mom, that I'm hard done by, that I'm a victim, that it's unfair, right? Oh my God, down with the patriarchy. Could it be that you're giving me a lens with which to interpret every innocent interaction or every time there's a difference between the sexes as a battle of the sexes, and as though my husband has something wrong with him or is doing something unfair to me? Maybe that's not the healthiest way for me to perceive marriage and perceive myself. Like, maybe. What do you think? Let's look at another one. And the thing is with all of these is that they seem innocent, right? We just see a little reel and we're like, oh yeah, but they get in our heads. I know it was getting in my head and it was totally ruining my marriage to see these videos and to constantly be searching for the diagnostic label on my husband, okay? Trying to tell my husband bye before he goes to work, but he hates girls. Okay, this does look a little odd. So here's an example again of what is this doing on Instagram? Okay, they have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 5, is it 6 kids? And I don't know why, but this strikes me as so staged. Like, if it's real, then Instagram isn't the place to go for this. And if it's staged, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Who set the camera up? Why are we staging a goodbye and showing him as a jerk and trying to out him to the general public online instead of dealing with these issues in a real way? Like, if he really is such a cold, hardened, uncaring man, then first of all, like, that's something that you really have to contend with in real life. Making a reel about it on Instagram is not a solution. That's not going to help. And if anything, that's going to fuel, you know, I would imagine cycles of rage and distrust and all sorts of stuff like that. Like, this isn't the place for it. But secondly, it seems staged to me. Like, you set up a camera, you had all the girls standing there. I have 5 children. It doesn't exist that we all stand by the door saying bye, bye, bye. And that dad just shoves past. Like, is he well? Is he okay? Is there something wrong? I don't know. You know, I don't even know what I'm watching here. But what I do know is that when we see these types of things, it makes us think, okay, I can relate. Something like that has happened in my life, and therefore there's something wrong with my relationship as well, right? It says, if you have more to do and clean after you take time for yourself because your husband didn't do anything while you rested, that's not me time, that's punishment. Okay? And let's check out the comments on this one. I went on a girls' trip to Florida for almost a week. I didn't have to leave any schedules, notes, or reminders. I came home and not only was the house clean, he had put up backsplash tile throughout the kitchen and hung several shelves up for me too. It was so nice to come home to. If I share this with my now adult children, do you think they would understand why we divorced? Amazing how men can be capable, thoughtful adults at work, but not for their family. Does that apply to when I get to come back from a solo trip and I have to start cooking, cleaning, clearing up laundry almost as soon as I walk in the door? This type of competition, right? Where we're constantly measuring, videoing, showing the world. Like, I don't know. Maybe the husband had to rush out to work and he dealt with the children as well and he fed them and the house is a mess. And yes, it wasn't up to your standards, but you got to take your shower and you got to take me time. And now there is mess to clean up, but it would have been the same if it was vice versa. I know that I've sometimes had to rush out with the house being in a mess and left extra things for my husband to take care of. Because guess what? Life is sometimes a bit chaotic. Life is sometimes messy. But why is it always women pointing out the flaws in men, pointing out their shortcomings, like, oh, he didn't do it perfectly? And it's so interesting because yesterday we went through the videos where women were showing off, were bragging, like this woman, oh, I came home, the backsplash was done, the meals were made, the laundry was prepped. Like, wow, good for you. Amazing. I'm so glad that that's your scenario. There are lots of different levels of capability, of resources, of time management. You know, I don't know, is this husband working 3 shifts? We don't know anything about these people. We don't know anything about him. And we all always told to offer the benefit of the doubt, neurodivergencies, life circumstances, all sorts of things when it comes to other people. But somehow when it comes to husbands, there's no benefit of the doubt. There's no assumption that maybe there's a reason the house is such a mess. Or maybe they have an arrangement between them that she's the one who does the tidying and he's the one who does the cooking, or I don't know what, right? Ruta says, sometimes my house looks like this after me too, just accepting that I will deal with it later. And I would hate if the kid's dad was talking like that about me. Exactly. And if you want to train your brain to scroll proof your marriage, you always have to reverse it. If it was a man saying this about a woman, would you accept it? Would that be okay? Would that seem misogynistic to you or unfair to you? Or, I mean, really, if a man said, I came out of the shower and my house looked like this, and he videoed how his wife had left the house, and he says, that's not me time. What kind of a shower is that? That's not princess treatment. Would we be okay with that? No, we would be like, excuse me, your wife has so much on her head. She's tired. She's breastfeeding. She's working. You clean up. But we have a hypocritical double standard when it comes to men and women about many different things. And the problem is that then it infiltrates into our marriage. And next time your husband does something nice for you, like he lets you sleep in, or he, fixes dinner, or he takes the kids out or whatever, but something's imperfect, like, oh, there was a mess, which happens in my house all the time, you're going to fixate on the downside, on what he didn't do for you. Okay. That it's that he's a narcissist, that it's a micro abuse, that it's a punishment, not me time. Like, dude, if you didn't do it perfectly, then it's not me time. Like, what a fast way to make a man fall out of love with you is to be unpleasable. To be someone who cannot be pleased. Even if he does something nice, it's considered a bad thing, right? It's considered something that you have to focus on all the ways that he's let you down. That's a surefire way to kill a marriage. I promise you that. Let's look at another couple of them, okay? We'll see what we're dealing with here in the world of diagnosis and comment section therapy. House, and this is what happens when I don't do anything. The house is a mess. Well, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise that the house is a mess. Yeah, if you're the one who takes on keeping the house tidy and then you stop doing it, then of course it's going to be a mess. Like, hun, that's not a battle of the sexes. That's just called being an adult and having responsibilities and having accountabilities. Okay. And the first comment here is, I wonder what happens if your husband stops paying the bills, okay, or the mortgage or the car payment. Yeah. When we stop doing the things that we're responsible for, then those things go to pot, right? That's just life. And if you don't like the arrangement that you have, if you wish that he was doing more of the housework, then renegotiate it like adults. Talk to him about it, figure it out, hire a cleaner, lower your standards, move to a smaller apartment, declutter, do something about it. Don't take to the internet to feel so sorry for yourself and so victimized that if you don't do your job doesn't get done. Now, I didn't decide it's your job. You decided it was your job. You want to change that? You want to go out and work and support the family and for him to stay home and be with the kids, or for you both to go out and for someone else to clean up, or for no one to clean up? It's all fine. You can choose whatever you want to do. You're in a free society. Thank God. No one has chained you to the home. You're not under slavery. Okay. I really think that you can change this. Okay. In my house, I teach my children to clean up after themselves. I demand that everybody cleans up after themselves. We do it together. We learn how to do it. We do team clean, as I call it in the studio, which is my membership, all about creating family culture. Create a culture of, of good routines, of good habits. That's fine. You want your husband involved in that too? Involve him. Brilliant. Okay. She said, one of the women here says, please don't delete. Other moms need to see this and have it continue to be normalized. I feel this in my soul. So relatable. Thank you for sharing. Feel what in your soul? What needs to be normalized? That if you stop tidying up, a mess accumulates? We need to normalize this. This is some big revelation. This is some spiritual, aha moment. I feel so seen. Hun, yes. We all have homes that we have to manage. It's a privilege. We're lucky. We have shelters over our heads. We have stuff to clean up. That's a sign of privilege. And if you are not happy with the arrangement, then change it. It's really not like, this big heroic mental load lift. And what this is doing is making everyone feel like, yeah, men are useless, men are clumsy, men are trash, men are weaponized incompetence. They don't try around the home. Everything falls to the woman. Well, that first commenter is right. Look, if this woman's husband is just playing video games all day, then I understand. I understand the fury. But I'm going to guess no. I'm going to guess he has his responsibilities and his accountability that he does. And he's not posting reels about how amazing it is that he does them. Although there are those men, and we saw them yesterday, didn't we? That does happen as well. Now, I want you to let me know in the comments. Here's another one like that. Oh, it's the same one again. Sorry, we've seen this. I want you to let me know in the comments if you have seen this, okay? If you have seen this effect on your marriage. When you watch these reels and then suddenly you think, oh my gosh, something's wrong with my marriage. Something's wrong with my husband.
Oh, I suggest you wash them by hand if you want to have a spoon. What are you going to do? Run the dishwasher with just all spoons?
I was thinking about that.
Okay, so this is an older woman who's been out of town for 48 hours and her husband is at home and he's run out of clean spoons, right? And the internet is having a field day because men are so dumb, right? But I want to ask you something. As a mother of boys and as a wife of 20 years, if a man doesn't know how to wash up a spoon, whose responsibility is that? What led to that situation? I mean, you've been married to him for about 30, 40 years. Have you always taken it on yourself and never asked him for help in that regard? Have you never taught him how to do it? Did his mother not teach him how to do it? Where are all the women who cry about mental load, but then enable and step in and do it all and never ask for help? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sad that a man of that age doesn't know how to wash up a spoon. I know many men in their 70s and they can wash up a spoon. All of them. All of them can wash up a spoon. None of them would call their wives and say, we've run out of spoons. It would not happen. So this is up to us as the mothers and the wives to enable competence, to allow the men in our lives to be capable. Okay, that is, yes, it's up to him as well. Of course it is. Of course he could do it. Of course he sounds like a dummy calling her like that. Okay, but this is something that we need to understand how we are, relating to these issues and what the comment section is saying to us. Okay, let's do one last one, I think. Actual footage of my husband and I cleaning up. And of course, she's moving really fast. She's being really super efficient. And he's kind of zoned out, staring at the cartoons while he folds one blanket. And meanwhile, she's cleared the whole floor, right? And then she even folds his blanket for him. Okay. Puts that as way two. Okay. Bro is actually too distracted by a children's cartoon to help his wife clean up their mutual mess. This isn't funny or cute. Okay. This is actually weaponized incompetence, right? Why is he watching cartoons? Okay. I would have turned the TV off and started yelling. I would do the same damn thing. It's not men and women, it's attention spans. Good point, hey? Okay. The point is that if he cleans up a little bit slower than me, then the correct thing to do is to share that footage to the internet and for everybody to diagnose him that he has ADHD, that he is weaponizing competence, that it's narcissistic, that this is the difference between men and women, right? And, this was one of the things, when I say Instagram ruined my marriage, this is one of the things that did it, is that I would go online and I would see women sharing their husbands' low points, mistakes, off days, off moments. He walked ahead, he folded the blanket slowly, he doesn't know how to wash up a spoon. And they would diagnose the entire man as a man-child or worse, right? It could be a personality disorder. He's grandiose narcissistic. It could be a psychiatric disorder. It could be a neurodivergency. It could be that he's actually abusive or toxic or a bad man. And at the end of the day, almost inevitably and almost always, the comment section was a referendum on the marriage and ultimately led to the conclusion, just leave. Just leave. You can't fix this. I'm telling you, you can't fix it. This is what my ex was like. I've seen this before. Run. And that's the advice we're getting from the comment section online. The comment section online thinks that they're therapists. There must be like 400 therapists in all of our marriages, okay? Invisible therapists. But none of them have met your husband. None of them are in bed with you. None of them know why you married him, what you do love about him, what works in your marriage, what arrangements you've made, what negotiations you've come to, what's working for you, okay? The internet diagnoses faster than you can even communicate with him. You want to talk to him about the fact that you know what? Now that I think about it, I think my husband used to walk ahead of me too. It was just like a cultural norm that he saw growing up. Okay, and I spoke to him about the fact that actually I'd love to hold hands and walk together, and we figured that out, and we moved on. And I didn't need 500 couch therapists to tell me that it's narcissism and all you can do is leave him. Okay, that was 20 years ago, right? And when I watched these reels, I was not reacting to my actual real life human flesh and blood man of a husband. Okay, I was reacting to what the internet says that this clip of his behavior means to their diagnosis, to their interpretation. Okay. So if a husband doesn't plan dates and the wife vents about that online, then the comment section rushes to diagnose, right? They go in, these women go in for validation, for camaraderie, for sisterhood, and they leave with a lifetime diagnosis. They go in sometimes, lightheartedly to just say, haha, look at this, or aren't men silly, or oh my gosh, my husband, ick. And they leave thinking, oh my gosh, she's toxic. There's something wrong with him. It shouldn't be this way. The women of the internet told me so. Now, the women of the internet are not your intimate circle. They're not sisters and aunts and grandmas sitting around the campfire giving you genuine advice. They're not the people who know your husband, know you, and want the best for you. That's where the type of sisterhood advice used to come from. But now it's coming from random avatars on the internet, many of whom are leading bitter lives themselves and want to embitter you. Many of whom know not the first clue, neither about your unique personal situation nor about marriage in general. And let me say, I took it upon myself not to take marriage advice from people who aren't married anymore, from people who aren't married for a while, from people who don't have a happy marriage, right? Because yes, you can learn from failures, but I think it's more important in this regard to learn from successes, from people who get it right, from people who stand the test of time and have longevity in their relationships. And I'm not putting myself on that pedestal. I'm putting the people in your life that that you can see around you who are already grandparents, who have lasted through thick and thin, who have made it work, who enjoy each other's company, who still like each other, who are actually still respectful to each other and good friends, and not to the bitter, women of the comment section. Okay. Because an 8-second clip cannot lead to a lifetime diagnosis, cannot lead to a breakage of a family. Okay. This comment section does not know your husband. It knows what's engagement, what gets likes, what gets sensationalism, what the trends are, what the politically correct thing is to say. That's what it knows. Okay. So if you've ever read comments and you suddenly feel worse or small or worried or like, damn, that hit, maybe that's true, then I want to train you not to give a microphone, okay, to people who don't know what they're talking about, to people who are not experts on your marriage or on any marriage. Okay. The thing is, and you need to understand this about your brain, we all have a bias towards negativity. Negativity spreads fast. Okay. Our brains, especially as women, okay, we have higher neuroticism, higher sensitivity to negative emotion because we are always scanning for risk. And if someone online says that your husband's dangerous or not safe or not stable or a narcissist, then that will ring true because your brain adopts the harshest interpretation in order to keep you safe. Okay. And labels then create that confirmation bias. If someone tells me that my husband's toxic and the next moment he forgets his cup on the counter instead of washing it up, I'm like, oh, you see, evidence that he's toxic. Never mind that I also put my cup on the counter and didn't wash it up. My brain is skewed now to collect evidence against him. Okay. So idealized content about relationships, like we discussed yesterday, and if you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch it, or negative relationship content, both create lower satisfaction in our real relationships. When you label someone, you change your perspective and your memory of them. Now, are there narcissists out there in the world? Of course. Are there abusers out there in the world? Sure. Are these diagnoses sometimes correct? Yeah. Even a stopped clock is right twice a day. Okay, sure. The comment section is sometimes accurate by accident. Okay, but those are the really low chances. It's low statistics. It's low likelihood. And if you need to get a true diagnosis or you really do need help or protection, the internet is the worst possible place to go for that. That's not the place where you're going to get, a clear read, a grounded, wise, evidence-based path forward or path for diagnosis or next steps or support. It feels like you will, but you won't. Okay. And that's because of the dopamine and the outrage, right? The internet rewards outrage, sensationalism by engaging with it, by offering more and more engagement and visibility to the most outrageous interpretations of things. Those are the comments that get the most likes, right? Those are the videos that get the most views. Okay. But your brain is going to remember the most dramatic explanation. If your husband's home late one night and you think, oh, maybe he ran late at work, maybe his phone ran out of battery, maybe he got into a car accident, but then the internet says, no, girl, he's cheating on you. Trust me. That was my ex, right? Then, of course, your brain is going to cling on to that interpretation. Now, could it be true some of the time? Sure, there are cases when that happens. But is that the most likely? Is that the most generous? Is that the, benefit of the doubt interpretation that we should all catastrophize and jump to? No, that's a cognitive bias. That's a cognitive fallacy of black and white thinking and catastrophization and personalization that we all do, and that the internet supports and rewards and exacerbates. Okay. Because once you label someone, you stop seeing them clearly. You stop collecting fair evidence for both sides. Okay. You stop talking to him and you start monitoring him. Every time he's going to walk ahead of me, I'm going to catch him because it's a red flag, right? Well, he said goodbye in a huff once. So let's see if that's always the case. Oh, he said goodbye in a huff. I guess he hates the girls. He hates our children. I'm going to interpret that. Then I'm going to reinterpret that. Then I'm going to find evidence for that. It might be true. He might be a jerk. He might be dangerous. Okay. Then the right step to move forward with that is not to post that on the internet, but to actually do something about it. And if he's not, then interpreting it in that way is only causing you pain and suffering. It's a play stupid games, win stupid prizes situation. Because you play a stupid game of trying to diagnose your husband as a jerk, right? The game is, how can I show that he's such a jerk? Oh, look, he walks ahead of me. Oh, look, he forgot my birthday. Oh, look, he leaves such a mess in the house. My husband's a jerk. Great. You won. Here's your prize. Now you get to be married to a jerk. Congratulations. Slow clap. Right? Like, that's not a good game to play. But when I scrolled Instagram, that was the game my brain kept playing with me. Like, oh, I could do this. You want me to find fault with my husband? I know how to do that. No problem. I could diagnose. Sure. I could have mental health issues or social issues or toxicity. Sure, I could do that. And then you play that stupid game and you win the stupid prize of suddenly you don't like your husband. Suddenly you think, why did I marry him? Why am I stuck with him? Why is this guy here? Are we even compatible? I made a horrible mistake, right? And you stop solving the problems and you start just living in them, monitoring them and performing them for likes and clicks, okay? So what we're going to do inside of Married You, and what I want you to start doing here, is to move from talking about it and interpreting about it and, documenting it, right? Documenting it for social media, for yourself, the videos and performance all about it, to solving problems, to saying, you know what? I would love to see if there's a way for our home to be tidy even after I've taken a shower and you're in charge with the kids. Is that a possibility? What's the friction? What's stopping us? Maybe you think I'm too controlling and you don't want to put things away because you'll put them away wrong. Maybe you don't have enough time to do that. Maybe you're focused on really playing with the kids because it's your 5 minutes with them all day. Maybe a million other things. And that's fine. Let's talk about the reasons why and let's solve for them, right? Let's stop diagnosing and using labels that may or may not be accurate, and only use diagnosis and pathologization when it's truly warranted, when it's truly useful. If you're really married to a pathologically, a personality disorder or someone psychiatric or someone with an addiction or someone abusive, you really need that label. That could be really useful. You need it in order to get clarity. You need it in order to get treatment. You need it in order to get justice, whatever it is. Okay, fine. You need the label. But I'm not talking about those labels. I'm talking about people who are married to generally decent human beings who don't have psychiatric conditions, who don't have a personality disorder, but who annoy us sometimes. Okay, they annoy us because they're being a bit selfish or a bit clumsy or a bit lazy or just human. Because sometimes humans are late and sometimes humans are messy and sometimes humans don't notice certain things. Maybe they don't have a sensitivity to holding your hand when they walk in the airport. And instead of taking to the internet crying about it, I want to give you the skills to solve it with the guy you've got so you can create the marriage that you want with the person that you're married to. Okay. We can stop interpreting, stop diagnosing, stop overanalyzing things in our head, spiraling ourselves out of control. I married the wrong person. He has ADHD. He has narcissism. He's clearly a man-child. He's toxic masculinity. He's the patriarchy. Like, let's tone down all those unuseful labels. Unless they really do apply, we don't want them. And instead, we actually need real conversation, real solutions. Okay. You can't crowdsource your marriage. Okay. You can't fill the gap of your husband hearing you, holding space for you, recognizing what you're saying by getting that validation from strangers online. Okay. This is a skill gap. It's a skill gap in marriage. Okay. And you can misdiagnose it as a character flaw. But what would be better is to actually fill the skill gap, actually learn how to be in a marriage, how to create a happy marriage, how to create useful, fruitful, mutually respectful conversation. Okay. Because when you pathologize, you are likely to withdraw, to test, to keep score, to feel hopeless, to give up. Okay. Because diagnosis like that, it just kills our motivation. Okay. And why even work on a marriage if you've already decided it's broken and he's hopeless? And that over analysis where you're constantly measuring him, watching him, will he peel the orange for me? Will he walk next to me? Will he clean up the house for me? Right? That creates a lot of distance, a lot of judgment, and not a good feeling. Okay. So let me know in the comments. Be honest with me now. Have you ever Googled your husband's behavior? Do you ever use therapy language in a fight? You're stonewalling me. You're gaslighting me. That's narcissism. You're lacking empathy. Have you ever thought about his attachment style? Oh, he must be avoidant. He must have had an ambivalent attachment, right? To solve all your problems moving forward with your husband. Oh, if I just unlocked what happened with his mom in his early childhood, if I just understood what this, what his neurodivergence is, if I just figured out that, oh, his pattern is stonewalling, right? Then I would be able to unlock the happy marriage. Generally speaking, those types of language and that type of pathologizing, spoiler alert, does not help, does not work. It makes you feel like you're getting somewhere. You're like, oh, look at me. I'm speaking like a therapist. It's so mature. It's so evolved. I know all the things. But ultimately, it creates a lot of distance in the marriage, okay? Rita says, mostly attachment style language, though I have diagnosed people around me in my head too. Yeah, and we all do. We all do. We all do that, and that's fine, but we don't want to get stuck there. What I want to help you to do is to move on from that. Because if you just say, well, he had an avoidant attachment style, and that's why he's avoidant now, and he's a bit narcissistic, and he's a bit ADHD, so that's why he is the way he is. Great. And what's next? Now, how do you create a passionate, desire-filled, chemistry-filled marriage with this person? How do you create a happily ever after with them? How do you become great co-parents? Or great financial partners, or great lovers, or all the good things that you want in your marriage? How do you do that? Okay. Some marriages are really unhealthy. That's true. That's real. Some guys really are jerks. Sure. Okay. But most of the marriages that I see, it's about normal friction and a skill gap. Okay. Low skills of communication, of behavior, of management and planning of the relationship. Okay. And we have to move away from the idea that normal marriage friction is toxic, okay? That frustration is pathological, that we need a diagnosis for everything. Sometimes we don't need a diagnosis. We need direction. We need skills. We need to stop asking, what does this mean? And start asking, what do I want to build? How do we move on from this? How do we recover? How do we repair? Okay. And in my approach, which is marriage by design, okay, rather than marriage by labeling, okay, we move from that diagnosis and that interpretation and that hope that it will just one day change to proactive behaviors, deciding, communicating, designing the future that we want together, deciding on the kind of marriage that we want, stating our needs clearly, negotiating and figure out ways to actually meet those needs for both of us, seeing the whole family unit as a whole, as a holistic organism where all of us need to thrive in order for the family to thrive. Okay, creating the rituals, building the skills. Strong marriages are built just like a house is built. They're not decoded. You can't sit there analyzing, why isn't the house being built? Oh, maybe it's narcissism. No, you have to go and get the bricks and build the house. You got to make the plan. You got to get the plumbing in. Okay. When we are in fantasy land, in la la land, in scrolling land, we're mesmerized by these stories and we analyze. We just get stuck in analysis paralysis. When you actually want a specific type of marriage, you have to act. Designers act. They draw it out. They decide this and not this. This color, this shape, let's go. Okay. So what I want to drive you towards and what I needed to learn and what I am trying to learn is to move away from labeling and towards leadership. And unfortunately, no one really teaches that. No one really teaches the skills of the marriage. So we go to the internet, right? But that is why I put together Married You. And your marriage does not need a comment section, okay? It needs direction. It needs steps. It needs do's and don'ts. It needs a plan. It needs an infrastructure. It needs stability and roots and all of those good things. So I warmly invite you to go over to highfam.com/love, where you can get the free PDF that goes along with this series. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving into our third installment of how Instagram ruined my marriage. We already talked about the fantasy couples, the idealized couples on Instagram that made me feel like everything paled by comparison. Today, we talked about the comment section and the therapists who are there diagnosing and analyzing and thinking that they know everything about me, even when they don't. And making me feel like, oh no, I married the wrong guy. I married a bad guy. I married a toxic guy. I guess I should just leave, right? That's the instruction, is always just leave, just leave. And we spoke about how that really worms its way into our brain because we have negativity bias and all of those things, right? Next, we're going to talk about another phenomenon on Instagram that ruined my marriage. We're going to talk about the exit narrative and how it ruined my marriage, but that is for tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to @HighFamLife on YouTube, on podcasts, on Instagram, wherever you get your content. And I want to invite you, my dear, to leave a question or comment below. So just write the word love so I know I should send you the PDF for free, but also give me your questions on this. I invite pushback and resistance. As long as it's done respectfully, that's absolutely fine. I'm sure some of the things I said here today piqued your curiosity or you felt like I disagree. And I would love to hear so we can actually, have a conversation. And I'm happy to go live. I'm actually going to collect as many of the questions as I can and answer them in a few days. So definitely do that. We monitor them and I do my best to answer them. Meanwhile, keep on living that high fam life and I'll see you in the next video.